In our previous episodes of Market Journal, we've shown you interviews from the 4-state crop insurance workshop in Grand Island, including conversations on boom-bust cycles in agriculture and possible cuts to crop insurance. This week, we'll look at how crop insurance could use big data. We discussed that topic with Terry Griffin from Kansas State and started by asking how widely used advanced technology is on the farm.
We have a lot of different statistics, and it kind of depends on which one we're talking about. If we're using GPS to automatically guide farm equipment through fields, at the service provider level, this is over 80% of service providers are offering that at the farm level. So it's almost ubiquitous. But if we think about technologies such as yield monitors and rubber technology that require a high degree of skill to make use of that information, then the adoption statistics are much lower. But one of the things we've been talking about today is big data in agriculture, telematics, pushing data between machinery and the cloud. One of the little known facts that all farmers may not be real cognizant of is that relatively new farm equipment, or just like our relatively new General Motors products, and that data has been passed between the equipment and the cloud to the manufacturer, whether we know about it or not. So it may be more widespread than we realize.
How can that data be used then for crop insurance purposes?
There's lots of opportunities for crop insurance, and especially if we redefine how crop insurance instruments are created. Yield monitor data for one thing. So if we know what the yields were in near real time, then that's going to make the crop insurance process a lot cheaper. The transaction costs will be much lower, and that'd be beneficial. And another part, if we could push planting data as crops have been planted in spring for summer crops, then that gives us a lot of information about when the crops were actually planted, was it planted in a timely manner, and so forth.
What are the hurdles to doing this, though?
Do you have a cell phone?
Yes, I do.
Internet connectivity, especially wireless in rural areas. You know, Nebraska, Kansas, where a lot of acres of row crops are. You know, we've all struggled with the internet connection or even being able to make a phone call. Well, think about if we're trying to make real-time connectivity through those same systems from rural Nebraska, that's a major barrier.
How much of a concern is privacy?
Privacy, whether it's real concerns or perceived concerns, it's very important. So I would argue that connectivity issues and privacy security issues are the two main barriers that we're going to have for crop insurance.
How long do you think we are away from doing something like this?
What's the next question? My forecast hasn't been working lately. You know, some would argue that 2015 would have been the year for this to happen, but maybe it won't be. So, you know, maybe a 3 to 5 year process, and the internet connectivity is going to be a function of private service providers pushing the technology to more rural areas where there's not a lot of demand for voice or text.
Do you think crop insurance companies would be behind this?
I think crop insurance companies can especially benefit from this technology and be very supportive of this, not only from USDA RMA level, but from the private providers as well.
Similarly beneficial to farmers?
I would suggest yes, especially if the reduced transaction costs are shared across both parties.
You can find Terry's presentation from the crop insurance workshop on big data through a link on the Market Journal website.